The Frightful Four. They were introduced in Fantastic Four 36 in 1965 as the villainous mirror image of the Fantastic Four. The team was originally formed by the Wizard, a genius inventor and strategist who believed that the best way to defeat the Fantastic Four was to create a team with powers that could rival them directly. With that, he gathered a group of dangerous criminals and superpowered individuals who each brought their own unique strengths to the table. The original lineup of the Frightful Four included the Wizard, Sandman, Pastebot Pete, later known as Trapster, and Medusa. Sandman, already known as a foe of Spider-Man, Pastebot Pete was a chemist who used powerful adhesives as weapons. Medusa, who at the time had amnesia and was manipulated into joining the team, used her prehensile hair as a weapon, although she would later become a key member of the Inhumans and ally of the heroes. And actually, the Frightful Four's first attack on the Fantastic Four was surprisingly effective and established them as a serious threat in the Marvel Universe. And what made the Frightful Four unique among villain teams was their recurring theme of being a twisted reflection of their heroic counterparts. The Wizard, for instance, saw himself as a darker version of Reed Richards, using his intellect not for innovation or protection, but for manipulation and domination. And their battles weren't just about brute force, they involved psychological warfare, cunning plans, and surprise assaults that often left the Fantastic Four struggling to keep up. Their use of technology, deception, and raw power made them persistent and unpredictable. Over time, the lineup of the Frightful Four has changed many times, with new members rotating in and out depending on the Wizard's plans. Notable additions included Hydro Man, Titania, Claw, and even Deadpool at one point. Each new version of the team brought its own flair, but the core concept remained the same. While they never reached the same iconic status as teams like the Sinister Six or Masters of Evil, the Frightful Four have remained a constant thorn in the side of Marvel heroes. The Hand. First appearing in Daredevil 174 in 1981, they are an ancient and powerful clan of ninja assassins that originated centuries ago in feudal Japan. Formed as a cult devoted to dark mysticism and martial arts, the Hand quickly grew into a secretive, international crime syndicate that operates from the shadows. They blend deadly combat skills with black magic, and their influence stretches across the globe, infiltrating politics, corporations, and even other criminal organizations. Their true goal goes beyond wealth or control, as they seek to usher in chaos and destruction to serve their demonic masters. Through ancient rituals, they can bring the dead back to life, though often under their control and with their will erased, and this makes them a nearly unstoppable force. This occult element gives them a supernatural edge and ties them to other dark forces in the Marvel Universe. The Hand has clashed with many Marvel heroes over the years, but they are mostly closely associated with Daredevil, Wolverine, and Elektra. In fact, both Elektra and Wolverine have been resurrected and manipulated by the Hand at various points in their lives. However, Daredevil's connection runs even deeper. At one point, he took control of the Hand in an attempt to reform from within. However, this move only led to greater moral conflict, showing how dangerous and corrupting the Hand's power truly is. And despite being a cult, the Hand functions like a militarized corporation. They have grandmasters, generals, and foot soldiers who follow orders. Their stealth, discipline, and fearlessness make them some of the most effective killers in the Marvel Universe. This organization is responsible for countless assassinations, disappearances, and brutal attacks, often without leaving a trace. And over the years, the Hand has appeared in many major Marvel storylines, including Shadowland, Enemy of the State, and Elektra Assassin, and they've also been adapted in Marvel television, notably in Daredevil and The Defenders, where they played a central role as a shadowy threat behind the scenes. The Serpent Society. Debuted in Captain America 310 in 1985, unlike most villain teams, the Serpent Society operates more like a professional labor union or a corporation for supervillains. All members take on snake-themed personas, and they work together for mutual benefit, offering contracts, protection, and shared resources. Their unique structure set them apart from other chaotic or ego-driven villain groups. From the start, they were portrayed as organized, strategic mercenaries for hire. The original team was formed by Sidewinder, a teleporting villain who envisioned a united network of snake-themed criminals. Founding members included Diamondback, Bushmaster, Cobra, Anaconda, Black Mamba, Death Adder, and Rattler. Sidewinder's pitch was simple: no more getting arrested alone or left to rot in jail. The Serpent Society would rescue, support, and protect its members, so long as they followed the rules. And this approach gave the group an edge in consistency and loyalty that most villain teams lacked. Over time, the society evolved, with various internal betrayals and leadership changes. King Cobra eventually overthrew Sidewinder and took command. Viper another snake-themed villain, also infiltrated and took over the group temporarily, twisting it into a more radical, terroristic version called Serpent Solutions. Some members like Diamondback eventually defected and became heroes. She even had a romantic relationship with Captain America, but most stayed loyal to the Society's criminal mission. Each member has their own unique abilities, ranging from super strength and elasticity to toxic gas or deadly bites. They've worked for major villains like Red Skull, AIM, and even corporations looking to hire discreet, deadly operatives. While they often face Captain America and the Avengers, they've also clashed with heroes like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And though they might not be Marvel's most powerful villain team, the Serpent Society has endured for decades due to their unusual blend of campy gimmick and corporate professionalism. The Marauders. They made their first appearance in Uncanny X-Men 210. They were introduced during the lead-up to one of the darkest storylines in X-Men history, the Mutant Massacre. The Marauders were a group of ruthless mutant assassins assembled by Mr. Sinister, tasked with wiping out the Morlocks, a community of outcast mutants living in the sewers beneath New York City. Their arrival marked a dramatic shift in the tone of the X-Men comics, pushing the violence and stakes to new levels. The original lineup of the Marauders included deadly figures like Sabretooth, Scalp Hunter, Arclight, Vertigo, Riptide, Harpoon, Scrambler, and Prism. Each member brought a unique and lethal ability to the team, and together, they proved themselves as one of the deadliest mutant strike forces ever assembled. And the Mutant Massacre saw them kill hundreds of Morlocks and severely injure key X-Men, including Angel, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. A horrifying twist about the Marauders is how Mr. Sinister used cloning technology to ensure they were practically immortal. Even after being killed, he could resurrect them through clones, allowing them to return again and again, more ruthless than before. And this not only made them harder to defeat, but it made them weapons manufactured for endless slaughter in the name of Sinister's twisted experiments. And with that, they have returned many times over the years, often with updated rosters or new missions. They've clashed with various teams of X-Men and have even been manipulated by other villains like Madeline Pryor and the Red Queen. And while the name Marauders was later used for a heroic team during the Dawn of X era, led by Kitty Pryde and focusing on mutant rescue missions, their roles in the Mutant Massacre left scars on the X-Men, both physically and emotionally, and they continue to embody one of the darkest chapters in the ongoing struggle between mutants and those who seek to manipulate or destroy them. The Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They are the personal enforcers of Apocalypse, and first introduced in X-Factor 15 in 1986. The concept of the Horsemen draws heavily from the biblical four horsemen of the Apocalypse: war, famine, pestilence, and death. Apocalypse selects mutants or humans and transforms them both physically and mentally into his horsemen using advanced celestial technology and manipulation. Once chosen, they become terrifying avatars of destruction, utterly loyal to their master. What makes the Horsemen so memorable is that Apocalypse often chooses familiar characters to serve in these roles, twisting their identities in shocking ways. One of the most famous examples is Angel of the X-Men, who was transformed into Archangel. His wings were replaced with razor-sharp metal ones, and his mind was corrupted, and this transformation had long-lasting effects on Angel's personality and relationships. And the roster of the Horsemen changes constantly. Characters like Wolverine, Gambit, Sunfire, Polaris, and even the Hulk have all served as Horsemen at different times, sometimes willingly, but more often as unwilling pawns. Each time Apocalypse rises, he handpicks individuals whose powers, emotional states, or weaknesses make them ripe for transformation. Some are enhanced, others are broken, but all are weaponized. Their purpose is to usher in Apocalypse's philosophy of survival of the fittest. They are tools of judgment and destruction, wiping out the weak and paving the way for a new world order under Apocalypse's rule. Whether sent to annihilate populations, conquer cities, or hunt down fellow mutants, the Horsemen operate with terrifying efficiency and power. The Wrecking Crew. They first appeared in the Defenders 17 in 1974. The team was formed when a former demolitions expert turned supervillain named the Wrecker gained mystical powers through an enchanted crowbar. Yes, seriously. While in prison, he shared this magic energy with three fellow inmates during a freak lightning storm, and together, they became the Wrecking Crew, a team of magically enhanced powerhouses specializing in destruction, chaos, and muscle for hire jobs. Despite their somewhat absurd origin, the Wrecking Crew quickly established themselves as serious threats in the Marvel Universe. The original members are Wrecker. He's the leader and wields a magical crowbar. Thunderbolt uses a wrecking ball on a chain. Pile Driver has giant, oversized fists, and Bulldozer charges at enemies with a reinforced helmet. Each member was granted enhanced strength, stamina, and durability from the Asgardian magic. making them capable of going toe-to-toe with major heroes. And while they lack complex strategies or high intelligence, their raw destructive power and brawler teamwork make them ideal for large-scale fights and smash-and-grab missions. The Wrecking Crew is often portrayed as villains for hire, working under more intelligent or manipulative supervillains. They have served under the likes of Loki, Baron Zemo, and the Masters of Evil. They are not planners, they are the muscle. Their frequent battles with heroes like Thor, Iron Man, and She-Hulk often end in catastrophic damage, as the crew specializes in tearing things down, buildings, vehicles, teams, whatever stands in their way, and their simplicity as characters makes them dependable tools in larger villain plots. Interestingly, Thunderbolt is the most intelligent of the bunch, having once been a respected physicist before turning to crime. He often shows frustration at being surrounded by dim-witted partners, but rarely breaks away. His loyalty to the crew remains, possibly because despite their flaws, they function like a twisted version of a family. They've even had moments of reluctant teamwork with heroes, especially in larger crossover events like Secret Wars, but they always return to their villainous roots. So they may not be mastermind level threats, but they endure as one of Marvel's most iconic blue-collar villain teams. They are the guys you call when you want something smashed. Hellions. Originally, they were a rival team to the New Mutants and served as students of the Massachusetts Academy, which was run by the telepathic villain Emma Frost. The original Hellions weren't exactly evil. They were young mutants being trained by someone with questionable morals, and this made them more complex than typical villains. They weren't looking to destroy the world, they were just on the wrong side of ideological divide. The original team included characters like Jetstream, Chariot, Cat's Eye, Empath, Thunderbird, and Roulette. Each had unique abilities and distinct personalities, and many were more sympathetic than they first appeared. Some were manipulated by Emma Frost, while others genuinely believed they were doing the right thing, and their clashes with the New Mutants were often filled with tension, emotion, and even romantic subplots. Tragically, most of the original members were killed during the crossover storyline X-Men The Phalanx Covenant and other later events. Their deaths haunted both the X-Men and Emma Frost, especially once she herself joined the X-Men and began monitoring new students. Emma's guilt over their deaths became an important part of her character development. Later, the name Hellions was reused multiple times. One version in the 2000s featured a new team of young mutants at the Xavier Institute, also led by Emma Frost, but this time as heroes in training. Another more recent and radically different version appeared during the Dawn of X era, where the Hellions were reimagined as Black Ops team of unstable mutants, tasked with cleaning up Krakoa's messes. This lineup included wildcards like Psylocke, Havoc, Nanny and Orphan Maker, Empath, and Wild Child. So whether they are misguided teenagers, fallen students, or misfit anti-heroes, the Hellions always explore themes of identity, loyalty, and second chances. They may not be as flashy or destructive as other villain teams, but they are often more personal, grounded, and tragic, which is why their legacy keeps returning in new forms. UFOs. They made their first appearance in Incredible Hulk 254, and their origin is a direct parody of the Fantastic Four. They are a group of 4 individuals who deliberately expose themselves to cosmic rays in an attempt to recreate the Fantastic Four's accident and gain superpowers. However, instead of becoming beloved heroes, their transformation is far more dangerous, unstable, and sinister. Led by Simon Utrecht, a wealthy and power-hungry businessman, the UFOs immediately positioned themselves as threats. The OGs consist of Victor, Vapor, X-Ray, and Ironclad. Victor is the team leader. He can repel anything with telekinetic force, allowing him to throw people, objects, and even energy back at his enemies. Vapor can transform into any gaseous form, often becoming toxic or corrosive substances. X-Ray emits and controls radiation, making him a living radioactive hazard, while Ironclad's body turned into dense metal, granting him immense strength and durability. They are ambitious and power-driven, seeking recognition and dominance. Their confrontations with the Hulk often result in explosive battles, as their abilities are a perfect match for his strength and resilience. And despite being repeatedly defeated, the UFOs never truly go away. They often regroup, evolve, or get pulled into larger villain plots within the Marvel Universe, such as the Dark Reign and Acts of Vengeance storylines. The UFOs stand out because they are mirror opposites of the Fantastic Four, in both origin and personality. While the Fantastic Four gained powers and chose to use them for good, the UFOs emerged twisted, both physically and morally, by the same kind of cosmic exposure. This contrast makes them a compelling thematic rival group, especially when exploring how power corrupts and how intention alone doesn't guarantee heroism. Their arrogance and overconfidence often lead to their downfall, but they remain a persistent threat due to their raw power and loyalty to each other. And their combination of science gone wrong, team synergy, and raw destructive ability keeps them relevant, especially in Hulk-centric stories.